Hi guys, it's Rebecca. Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. Today's video is going to be my July reading wrap up. It was just an okay month for me, unfortunately. This was another month that I just kind of felt like meh. I've been really into watching stuff. I binge watched Beef on Netflix because everybody at work was talking about it. Well, not everybody. I was talking to one of the doctors and another coworker of mine, and they were talking about Beef and how good it was. So I was like, oh, they made me want to see it. So I ended up binge watching the whole series. And then I also binge watched Mayor of Easttown, and this is on HBO Max. It's a show from a couple of years ago, I think 2020 or 2021. Excellent show. If you guys are into murder mystery dramas, that is an excellent one. You guys need to watch it. What else have I been watching? Oh, I finally watched Top Gun Maverick. I hadn't watched that. I finally watched it. And so there have been just, oh, and then Secret Invasion on Netflix, on Disney Plus. It's happening every week. This week that I'm filming is the last episode. It's going to be the finale, so we'll see how that goes. So I've been just, very interested in watching stuff on TV. So reading has kind of taken a back seat, and the fact that I've been reading kind of sort of like mediocre books doesn't help the fact, like, it doesn't help me want to get to reading more. You know what I mean? So the last book that I read this month, however, kind of was the best read that I've had, and I'm gonna save that for the end. But let me show you guys just what I finished. So I am a dummy because I kind of had in the room where I film. You guys kind of see the table that I have with all the books. I kind of have my stack there of the books that I've read for the month. And one day I passed by there and I was like, I haven't read any nonfiction this month, and the month is almost done. And I made a mistake because one of the nonfiction books that I ended up reading two nonfiction books is what I'm trying to get at. But the reason why I read two is because I thought I hadn't read one, because the one that I read at the beginning of the month has kind of a fiction-y type cover. So when I glanced at it like real quickly, I thought it was just another novel, and lo and behold, I was wrong. So the first nonfiction book that I read at the beginning of the month is You'll Grow Out of It by Jessie Klein. And as you guys can see, I just saw the spine of the book, and I saw the lips, and I thought, I don't know, that's a novel. It's a rom-com. It's a chick lit. It's a romance book. I don't know. I don't know what I was thinking. So yeah, but this is the first book I read at the beginning of the month, and this was just okay. Apparently, Jessie Klein is a comedian, and she shares stories about her life, how she's always grown up to be kind of like a tomboy, and how it's affected her relationships and her work and the way she perceives herself. And it's not a memoir. It's just, she just shares stories mostly from her early adulthood on. But yeah, this was just okay. I gave it 3 stars. I wouldn't recommend it. I think there are other books from other comedians that are better, more engaging, and actually funny. This one didn't make me laugh as much as I thought it would. And then the nonfiction book that I read at the end of the month, thinking I hadn't read any, is All That Remains, a renowned forensic scientist on death, mortality, and solving crimes by Sue Black. She is a forensic person. What do you call? She is a forensic anthropologist and anatomist based out of the UK. So a lot of this has references to things in the UK, but this was super interesting because she goes about how working in forensics, how sometimes the conditions in which she finds the body and how they go about applying science to identify the bodies, even though they've been mutilated, when criminals try to erase all traces of identifying factors. If say the corpse or the body parts or the whole body or whatever is found, how she's worked on cases where they try to just completely make the body unidentifiable, and how just by looking at a piece of bone they're able to identify the body and who that person is. This can be a little bit gruesome for some people if there's some very harsh descriptive scenes of crimes that she has worked in the past, and this might be a little bit too much for some people. I feel like if you enjoyed the movie Red Dragon, you'd enjoy this. I really enjoyed it and highly recommend if you're like into sciencey stuff. And the AC just kicked on and I hope it doesn't bother you guys. You guys said in the last video not to worry about it, but I'm concerned that it's gonna be too loud in here too. So and then for the 4 other books that I read this month, the first one I didn't care about at all is The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo. This book has a lot of hype. It's won multiple awards. It is told in verse, and I don't know if it's because it's in verse and maybe I'm just not dumb enough to understand poetry, but I didn't understand the hype. This might get me some hate, but sometimes minorities describe their lives as, oh me, I've had it so hard growing up and being discriminated against, and I have all these things against me, and poor me, and I hate that. like don't be so whiny. Like, you know, maybe just because I've never felt less than for being Hispanic, that when Hispanics try to make their lives be like it's such a struggle, like I don't know, I just don't empathize. I don't see myself with it, and I felt like this was a lot of whining, and I don't know, I just didn't care for it. This is one of the books I'm gonna get rid of at the end of the year, and maybe I just don't understand it. Oh, and I listened to it on audiobook and I felt like I was like the person reading this was acting it too much. Maybe also that's why I didn't like it. I don't know. I'm sorry if you like that book. Oh, did you guys see that dog hair? Anyway, next I have The Switch by Beth O'Leary. I really enjoyed The Flat Share by her. This one, however, I didn't care for. I was so bored when I was reading this book. This is about a girl who switches places with her grandma, and they both get to live each other's lives and understand why each person is the way they are. Call me ageist, I don't know, but I didn't care to see life from grandma's point of view. I think this one is Beth O'Leary's second book, and I think it suffers from second book syndrome. I could be wrong, but like I said, The Flat Share, I really enjoyed. I thought this was gonna be like a funny type book because it's a switch, and I felt like it was a lot more serious. It was more serious than I had initially hoped. So yeah, for that reason, it was just okay. Then I read The Long Walk by Stephen King, and this book left me very much confused. I feel like I didn't understand the whole story. Like we live in it's a dystopian society in which once a year they have 100 kids, you know, who volunteer to go on this long walk, and with the premise of if you finish the long walk or if you win the long walk, you get everything and anything you want. And so typically it's people that are poor that need you know, would really benefit from the money or whatever. And the thing is that you need to walk X amount of kilometers a day and you can't stop. So you need I think you need to average about 4 kilometers an hour, I think, if I'm remembering it straight. I can't remember the number exactly. But if you stop, you get a warning. So I think you get 3 warnings, and then after the 3rd warning, they just shoot you dead. So we follow this guy Gary, or Garrity, and the kids that he made, and the friends he makes during the walk, and we kind of get a little bit of flashbacks into his life to see what his life was like before joining the walk, and then it has kind of an ambiguous ending. I think he wins, I think, or he might be delirious and die at the end. I don't know. I guess it's up to interpretation. Sorry if I just ruined the ending. But this wasn't like creepy or suspenseful, in not the way I envision Stephen King's books to be, especially the books that I've read from him. This one's not creepy at all. I didn't find anything creepy about it. So this was just okay as well. Guys, editing Rebecca here. Just wanted to let you know that I did finish the third book that I was talking about in my wrap up. This is the third book from the Codex Alera series from Jim Butcher. This is called Cursor's Fury. In this book, we continue following Tabby. Tabby, is that his name? I always forget. Or Toby. No, yeah, Tabby. Tabby. And in this book, more things are at stake. More epic battles are happening. I can't say much because, again, it's the third book in the series. It's a high fantasy series. And I enjoyed it. I think I gave it 3.5 stars on Goodreads. I don't know if it's because I haven't been in the mood for like high fantasy, that I didn't really love it as much as the other two. But like I found myself enjoying reading this book. However, it was very easy for me to put it down, and I could put it down for days. Usually I'll read a book within a couple of days or so, but this book took me all month, just because like I was reading it, I would read a few chapters and then I would put it down for like 4 or 5 days and then pick it up again. So I enjoyed myself reading it, but like I said, it was easy for me to put it down, and I was okay with putting it off while I was reading something else. So I don't know if it's just the mood that I'm in, or this book just didn't quite do it for me, but I enjoyed what I read when I was reading it, if that makes sense. So yeah, I just didn't want to hold on to this book until the wrap up for next month, because then I was going to forget to talk about it. But yeah, I did end up finishing this book. And then last but not least, my favorite book of the month that I gave 5 stars, very glad I picked it up, is Carrie Soto is Back by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This book, oh my gosh. It's something about Taylor Jenkins Reid is that her books, or at least her audiobooks, they feel like you're watching like a documentary of a real person. And they're very engaging, and like you care about these people. This is set in the world of tennis, of which I have no knowledge of. And it's funny because I read it during the Wimbledon finale, or whatever it is that you call that, championship? I don't know. But in this book we follow Carrie Soto, who was like the best there was in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken. And then she suffers an injury and she has to retire early, and then here comes 10 plus years later, there's another girl who is a young tennis player who ends up matching or tying Carrie's record of most wins, most titles, and that kind of sets a fire into Carrie, and she's like, I want to defend my title. I don't want this newbie to beat me, because she has worked her whole life. She's treated people very badly, very poorly, relationships. Her whole life has been tennis, and she's like, heck no, this girl's not gonna come and steal my title. So she comes back from retirement to prevent that from happening. So this was really, really good. I gave it 5 stars. Really, really enjoyed myself reading this book, and this is the best book that I've read in a while, because I've had a couple of months that have been kind of like meh. Definitely I haven't had a 5-star read in a long time, so hopefully that'll be good. So I'm currently reading, I was trying to read another book from the Furies of Calderon, which I read the first 2 books last month, and I was trying to finish the 3rd book today, this month, but I've only made it halfway through, so that'll definitely be in my August finale. But for now, that's all I read in the month of July. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.